Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tribal Academy. This is my brand new Magic the Gathering channel where we're going to discuss everything Magic related. Now, one of my favorite formats is Commander, and I know that things can get a little pricey. Where I've seen the title of this video, decks don't need to be as expensive as you think. And I have had classic blunders time and time again where I've got a whole deck list. I'm going through the TCG app and I'm looking at all these cards that I want, and it equals $200 to $400 for the whole entire cart. And I'm thinking, man, is there ways I can cut prices? And I've learned to do my own research, but I'm here to also help y'all do research into the game of Magic and what you can do to make things a little bit better. And price is probably the number one thing on my list of how to make Magic better. Now, if you're building a brand new deck, and a lot of people don't think of this, don't start with the lands you want and all that stuff. Leave the lands on the back burner. You're going to spend so much money on goofy lands that could be ran with, guess what? Just this. Unless you're building an island, a swamp, a mountain, or a forest deck. This is the Plains card. If you're brand new to Magic, this is what the Plains look like, alright? But no, this could be a replacement to any expensive land that you're looking for. So build the rest of the deck, worry about what your deck, what you want to do, what you want it to look like, and then worry about your lands at the very end. Because by doing this with your lands, using basic lands to fill in for what you want. Now, it's nice to have a dual land type deal going on where if you're running white-blue, which is one of my favorite color combinations in Commander, it's my Mendicant core deck. But if you're doing that, you're going to want, lands that can run white and blue. And instead of filling 2 slots, you fill 1 slot with that land and, you save room for another card and all that stuff. But this does work for the time being. Now, we're going to look at some Commander staples, because like I said, Commander's one of my favorite formats. Now, we could talk about Pauper, and we could talk about Standard all we want, and this applies to all that stuff. It's doing the research and figuring out what cards fit where and what you can do cheaper. Yeah, maybe the mana cost is, instead of a 2-drop, it's a 3-drop, and you save $2.50, whereas a 50-cent card compared to a $3 card. That's the goal of this video, all right? So we're going to come over to my desk real quick, and we're going to look at some Commander staples and talk about, things you need and things you can cut until you can afford it later on. All right, let's go over there. All right, so we're going to discuss some Commander staples that I believe belong in every single Commander's deck. And by definition, should start to help you guys understand how to save money when building your deck. Alright, so we're going to say Zabaz is going to be my commander today. Alright, cool card. But some of the staples you're going to want to see in your commander deck that I think should be in there before you worry about, other things would be something like Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Command Tower, and Commander Sphere. Alright. If you pull these turn 1, everybody at the table is going to love you. They are not going to call you a cheater. So don't start calling people cheaters, because they top deck stuff and hold 7 cards in their hand, and then they shuffle, and then they put those same 7 on the back and the top of the hand. Like, I've never seen that happen before. It happens, guys. There is people that cannot stand losing. I get it. But if you play a Sol Ring and Arcane Signet, I'm going to call you a cheater. I'm kidding. I'm going to do it for funsies, all right? It happens. It can happen. Arcane Signet and Sol Ring are 2 of the most important things you want to see in your hand turn 1. That doesn't mean mulligan until you see them, but if you get it in your first hand, you're doing good. Alright, so Sol Ring taps for 2, and Arcane Signet adds any color in your commander's color identity. This is very important text for a commander that runs more than 1 color. Same thing goes for Command Tower and Command Sphere. These both apply all the same text. Now, there is another card that's like Command Sphere that is Path of Ancestry. Path of Ancestry does the same thing, but it comes out tapped. Now, if it's turn 1 and you have none of these in your hand except for Path of Ancestry and Command Tower, I say play Path first, untap it, Command Tower comes in untapped. Now you have 2 mana on turn 2 instead of just, like playing it like this and you have just 1. Smart moves, smart plays. You always want to play smart and to the best of your benefit, all right? Now, other cards that are Commander staples could be like something like Exotic Orchard. The Exotic Orchard allows you to add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. So as long as they have a mountain or an island or any of the 5 mana colors out there, this one can tap for that mana color. The likelihood that that exists of the same mana color as your commander, even though ignore this one, but it's going to happen. The likelihood that this is in your hand and nobody has the same color as you just means it's going to be like a neutral color. You just pick a color and be like, all right, I'm going to use this for my, my blank mana color, my neutral, like this 2 or this 1 or this 3 or this 1. It can work like that too. But more than likely, somebody's going to have your commander color and their, commander's identity, and they're going to be playing it. You'll be really grateful when somebody comes out with a 5-color deck that doesn't absolutely stomp you. Evolving Wilds is also great. So there's been times where I have been up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, and I've been completely mana screwed the whole entire game, and something like Evolving Wilds would be awesome to see in my hand. Now, a card like this, and there's many cards out there that are similar to this, will crack. You will search your library for a land. It will come in tapped. This will go into your graveyard, and then you'll shuffle. Now you're kind of hoping on Gambler's Luck for this, that your shuffle brings more lands to the top, which would be great. And if it happens, and you start going off. But there's been times where I've been turn 6 and only had 2 mana out there, right? Now there's things you can do with players. If you're playing casual and tell them, hey, just go ahead and fetch another land. I'll put a card from your hand in your graveyard, fetch a land and put it out there. That's something great to do too. Customs and courtesies while you're playing, guys. Just customs and courtesies. Now, we're going to get into other commander staples I believe need to be in your deck, and they might get a little pricey. The priciest one on this list is probably your Sol Ring, all right? Now, it would be something like, let's move these around, Lightning Greaves. Lightning Greaves is a 2 cost, and it costs absolutely nothing to equip it. So you can move it around creature to creature, but you put it on your commander. Now your commander has haste and shroud, which is kind of like a hexproof. Unless there's a board wipe, nobody can just blow this up to blow it up. Protects your commander, and especially if your commander relies on triggered abilities, +1/+1s, and the synergy of your deck, you're going to want to protect it. But bro, Lightning Greaves are a little more expensive. I think I can run other cards in my deck before I spend the money. It's cool. They make Swiftfoot Boots. Swiftfoot Boots cost 2, just as much as Lightning Greaves, but it only has an equip cost of 1. Now, Swiftfoot Boots, you equip it, and if you want to move it around, you got to pay the 1, but it gives it hexproof and haste, which is pretty much the same thing as Lightning Greaves, all right? So it gives it protection except from board wipes. That's awesome, right? But I'm not sure the price on the market, but let's just say in terms of prices, Lightning Greaves is probably double the price of Swiftfoot Boots. You can fill more cards into your game, and later on, maybe by chance, somebody gives you a Lightning Greaves, or you find one at your local game store, and you buy it and put it in your deck. These are commander staples. Again, I think they need to be there, but there's something that we can replace with, all right? Now we get into the lands, like I discussed earlier. Lands are a little bit iffy when it comes to prices, and you can fill other things in. You can buy game changers. You can buy all 3 of your game changers for the price of 1 land sometimes, all right? But something like Otawara Sori City, it's not that expensive, but still, you could run better things. Well, not better things, but things that are a little cheaper, and then later on, worry about getting this. Build your deck first, and then start adding your Otawaras and all your other stuff. But something like this has a channel effect. You pay 3 and a blue, and you discard Otawara, goes away, and you get to return an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, or a planeswalker from your graveyard back onto the battlefield, right? Is it back to the battlefield? Let me see. Oh, to its owner's hand. So it's going to come to my hand. And it costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So it could just cost 1 blue, all right? Cost 1 blue, boom, back into my hand. That's great. But it only taps for an island. Wow, an island only taps for an island. You see where I'm going with this? Now, this is for a monocolor. If you're running like a dual color deck, you can have a dual colored land over here instead of this too. But yeah, you get where I'm going. Something like Boseiju Who Endures is also under the same, I don't have to run it. It's great. It's great for blowing up somebody's artifact, enchantment, or a non-basic land. Do not do that. especially turn 1 if you're playing casual. Don't go blowing up somebody's land if you don't have to. It's better, though. I'd say ignore the land part in general, even if you want to be a dirtbag. But it's better to destroy an artifact or an enchantment. That's great. It costs 1 and a green. It costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature. So just, a forest can do it. Boom, blow something up. They're mad, you're happy. But a forest taps the same as Boseiju. Just like Otawara. You get what I'm laying down here. You get, save money on lands. Find replacements for things that are a little more expensive, like Swiftfoot. But now we get into the more competitive side of Magic, the game changers and all that stuff. And game changers usually come down to somebody just, fetching something that they really need in their library and tutoring it out either on top of their library or straight to your hand or the battlefield. Also the Moxes. The Moxes are great cards. You see how this is a 0 drop and it adds 1 mana of any color among legendary creatures and planeswalkers you control? That comes out turn 1 without paying any of the ability and can tap turn 1 for a Soul Ring. You can also play a land that turn. And right now, I am sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4 mana on my next turn. That's dope. I like that. That's cool. Do you need it? No, calm down, SpongeBob. You don't need it. You don't need it. A forest can be random replacement of a Mox. And now you're going to see people play Moxes. You're going to see people play Tutors. I would say also leave your game changers on the back burners. These are game changers. That means they're going to be more expensive. Anywhere between the $15 to the $450 range. And that's right. I'm talking about Lion's Eye, whatever it's called, Diamond. Don't need it. Don't have to play it. It's this is a $55 card. I'm pretty sure this one's from the Brothers War. You don't need it. You don't have to get it. Just play a land. This is what I'm saying. Just play a land, please. Please and thank you. I'm pretty sure people are going to look at you skeptical when you're playing casual and you turn a Mox Amber into the game. They're going to be like, you're the threat. I don't care what you play next. It could be the weakest thing ever, and this is the only thing in your deck that's like game changer ability stuff. You're an issue, all right? So that's why you kind of want to start discerning and doing your own research while you're making your card list and all that stuff of what you want to see in your deck. You want to start thinking, do I need the Lightning Greaves? I can buy those later. I'll do Swiftfoot. Do I need, the Otawara? No, I'm just going to do an island. That's the cheapest option, and I can get 3 other really good cards, and I'm going to save my lands for the end. That's what I want to see y'all doing, because then later on, you might not like that deck no more. You might be like, this is a crappy deck, but I bought really good cards for it, so I feel like I'm forced to play it to get my money's worth. Brothers and sisters, ooh, why did you do that? Ooh. All right, guys, so we're going to turn back to me in the chair. One sec. So yeah, I'm hoping all that information that I just laid out in front of y'all helps you tremendously in building a new deck, especially for beginners. And some people might even be experts and they never thought, hey, let me hold off on the lands that I want. Let's start off with basics or something else, and then let's go from there. But my biggest tip to you guys that's watching this video is go to your local game store and you might find some cards you want out in the wild that's way cheaper than people are selling on the TCG app. Now, I do use that app a lot because my local game store does not carry certain cards. And that's fine. That's fine. But I would suggest you go there first, a little mom and pop store, help them out. And then if they don't have it, go find it on an app and then buy it from there. But if you like this content, I would love to see you guys commenting down below stuff that you want to see me discuss. Because I know throughout the years, the Magic mechanic has changed. I started playing in 2011, 2010, when poison counters were a thing. And I know how dastardly those were. But my best friend played a silver deck, and there was no other way of beating him without poison counters. So as the mechanics change, you guys are going to want to see different things. So commenting down below lets me know what you guys want to see me discuss on this channel. But thank you all for joining. This has been Tribal Academy. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe so you can see my next video. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Till the next video, adios.